Imagine you're standing in a mega sports bar, right? You're surrounded by this wall of like 160 different TVs, all playing perfectly synchronized 4K video.
Yeah, and if you tried to run even a fraction of that data off your home Wi-Fi, your router would literally melt.
Oh, absolutely. So how does it actually work? Well, today we are taking a deep dive into the hidden military-grade AV infrastructure that makes those massive displays possible. We're pulling from this really extensive catalog by HDTVSupply, which is a 25-year global veteran in audio-video networking, just to decode exactly what's happening behind the drywall.
Right, because the sheer scale of the data moving through these spaces is just staggering. I mean, pushing just one stream of uncompressed 4K video at 60 hertz is, well, it's like trying to shove a fire hose of water through a garden hose.
Yeah, that's a massive amount of data.
Exactly. So doing 160 of them simultaneously without the whole system lagging out or, overheating is an incredible feat of physics.
Okay, let's unpack this. If we look at how a massive network like this begins, our sources point to local inputs, like the Turtle AV TAV-BBUSBC-RX Boardroom Buddy USB Receiver. So is a receiver like this essentially the optic nerve of a much larger central nervous system?
That is a great way to put it, actually. Yeah, that boardroom receiver is basically just a local depot. It collects the signal, say, from a laptop, but the real magic, the heavy lifting, happens at a central hub.
Right, those massive Wolfpack modular matrix switchers.
Yeah, those switchers are the actual infrastructure routing the signals. Simple boardroom receivers are really just the tip of the iceberg here.
In looking at the specs here, it's wild. These matrix switchers scale from a basic 4x2 setup all the way to a mind-boggling 160 by 160 HDMI matrix switch. And all of that runs over standard CT6 cables, which is just crazy.
It really is. Think of a 160 by 160 matrix switch, less like a computer and more like a high-speed rail yard.
Okay, a rail yard.
Right. It's taking 160 different bullet trains of raw data and instantly switching them to 160 different tracks. And it does all this without a single collision or dropped frame.
Which is how these mega sports bars can seamlessly route all that uncompressed 4K video. And they even incorporate picture-in-picture or PIP and POP video wall controllers. Plus, they integrate DirecTV and Everpass apps directly into the distribution itself.
Exactly. It's a completely seamless ecosystem.
But hold on, I do have to push back on the usability here. If the underlying tech is this massively complex, high-speed rail yard managing 160 different screens, I mean, how does a regular bartender control that on a busy Friday night without an engineering degree?
Well, the control ecosystem is actually pretty slick. HDTVSupply provides free Windows 11 PC software, iOS and Android apps, and even WebGUI.
Wait, really? So it's just an app?
Yeah, because the heavy lifting hardware is completely decoupled from the user interface. When a bartender taps a TV icon on an iPad, a lightweight web server translates that tap into highly complex routing commands.
Oh, wow.
And the matrix switch executes those commands in milliseconds. So a wildly complex engineering task feels exactly like using a basic smartphone app.
Okay, but wait, I'm looking at the specs right now, and amidst all these slick apps, they have dual RS-232 and TCP/IP controls listed. I mean, why are they still outfitting these matrices with legacy tech?
That strictly comes down to security. While a commercial venue wants the wireless convenience of an iPad, their highest-level clients demand something totally unhackable.
Meaning the government.
Precisely. A high-security government facility might use a 160-screen setup for mission control rooms or emergency command centers. And for them, hardwired, ultra-secure control is non-negotiable.
Right, because an RS-232 is essentially a direct physical serial cable, meaning it's completely air-gapped from the internet. You can't wirelessly hack a physical cable from the parking lot.
Exactly. And the sources highlight how these specific government purchases go through really strict channels. Things like the federal GSA schedule, NASA C, and they use TAA-approved products managed through the SAM system.
Oh, wow. That is serious hardware procurement. So the next time you are sitting in a massive sports bar or taking a tour of a high-tech government facility, take a close look at those perfectly synced video walls, because you'll now know that somewhere in a closet nearby, there is an absolute beast of a matrix switcher, like a Wolfpack 160 by 160, silently routing millions of pixels behind the scenes. So what does this all mean?
Well, there's a pretty wild thought buried at the very end of the source material. They are already starting to outfit these networks with 8K HDMI products.
Wait, 8K? That's massive.
Yeah, so if pushing 160 streams of uncompressed 4K video over local networks requires this much heavy-duty infrastructure and government-grade security today, what exactly is going to happen to these networks when the sheer data load of 8K becomes the undisputed standard tomorrow?